Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to the first edition of the season of the ETBU Softball Coaches Show. We're here with head coach Janae Shirley as she is busy preparing and getting her team ready for this year's season opener, which comes up as scheduled right now on Friday night. There are some possibilities, of course, but we'll talk about that later, of moving that game. But we'll get into the gist of why we're here this morning, Coach, and that is just to talk about your team as it stands right now as you get ready to defend the American Southwest Conference Championship, which you won last year, with some new faces and some familiar ones. But let's talk a little bit about just where you are right now as a team through preseason preparation, and just give us a little heads up as to how you feel that y'all are prepared getting ready to start the season.
I'm pretty confident where we're at as far as preparation goes. We've had some really good practices. Up until this point, we've had a lot of time outside, had a lot of opportunities to scrimmage and stuff. So, I feel like the girls are just ready to play. Sometimes it's hard to, take scrimmaging like it's a game. So we're kind of at the point to where we need to play a game and, see what we have.
Well, there are some obvious holes to fill. We'll talk about that here in just a second. The biggest one, however, is you did graduate two seniors last year, Kaylee Mashinsky and Megan Fisher. One of those, Megan Fisher, was a four-year starter at third base. Seemed like she'd been here forever. How has it been as far as just kind of filling those holes of those seniors that have departed?
Well, we did a little preparation last year with third base. Obviously, we knew that Fisher was done after the end of the season, so we had put Christina Cordova there, numerous times in practice, kind of give her an opportunity to get familiar with that position. And she's slid so far into that role pretty easily, and she's done a nice job so far.
Let's start with the pitching. Obviously, you had a young freshman last year, was freshman of the year, Shelby Parker. She's no longer with the team. So you're filling in with, of course, Erin Garcia coming back a little bit stronger this year, her second year back off of an injury. Talk about your pitching staff as a whole and how you feel where y'all are at this point.
Well, I think a lot of that's going to be dictated off of the first games. It is different mindset for them when they go out to play a real game as opposed to scrimmaging all the time. The same batters, some of that's a little bit hard when you're facing the same people, consistently. But, I'm excited to see what kind of depth our pitching staff has. We have Jordan Bullard, who came back off an injury last year, wasn't able to. So this is basically like her freshman year. We're excited about her coming back. Obviously, Erin, who's been with us for a few years, and then Ashton, who filled a big role for us last year towards the end of the season. She'll be, obviously having some time there as well. Then a couple of new faces. We have, Kaylee Davis, who transferred in from Texas Women's, and we're excited about, what she's been doing the past couple of weeks. And also Lauren Derting and Lauren Fedor, who I think will find definite roles for us. So I'm excited to see kind of where we're at.
Well, there is a strong veteran core returning. That was one of the good things about having a young team win the conference championship. You do have a strong core. Veterans like Beck Young and Leah Swanner, who have played a lot of softball here their first couple of years. How does that, having that veteran influence now, just coming off of championship years, how does that help in terms of preparation and getting those young players to come along a little bit more quickly with that kind of experience on the field?
Well, I think it definitely helps in our preparation. Kids like Beck and Leah have won a national championship and were really disappointed with last year's season when they did have a good year. They won the conference championship and, kind of fell short in their minds. And so I think it's good to have a majority of your team on that mindset and on the same track, looking to be successful, and they expect nothing less, so kind of everybody else follows suit and they want to win too. So
just if in general, talking about an overall strength of the team that you're really excited about, what would that be going in?
Well, I think one of the things that we'll be able to do this year that we haven't in the past is have a lot more speed than we have. Offensively, I feel like we're a little bit stronger than we have been in the past, and that's exciting. It's exciting to have kids that can run and can do a lot of stuff for you. So we're excited to see how that plays out for us.
Just who are some of the younger players that fans might not be familiar with at this point, but who have kind of stepped up and kind of caught your eye here in the preseason? You're looking for at some point, at least during the year, of seeing some big things from?
Well, we have a couple of new kids that have definitely risen to the top and look to, possibly start for us. One is Kayla Garcia. She's come in and so far done a really nice job for us. She's been hitting the ball pretty well, and she's pretty quick. Also, Miranda Westbrook. She's been doing a nice job for us, looking to possibly start for us as well. We have a few other ones. Mallory Westbrook has been hitting the ball well. A couple other kids, Jessica Delgado, a few of those that are definitely going to help us have a lot of different options. Last year we didn't have as many options as far as what we could do defensively, behind the plate and things like that, and we've definitely added to our depth and the moves that we can make.
Well, one thing that you battle every year is the conference that you play in, and particularly the division that you play in. Again, starting with at least with 3 teams ranked in the top preseason top 25, another one probably deserving of that, Mississippi College. The top 4 teams, and then the other teams in the division have improved as well. How difficult does it get every year as the league gets even more deeper to try and stay at that level and just talk about the conference in general?
Well, I think you go into conference play knowing that every single game is going to be a battle. Last year there was games that people didn't expect to be a factor that ended up being a factor in whether they made the conference tournament or not, and that's huge for us. Every game we have to come at it with the same mindset that this could be the game that makes or breaks us. So you don't have time to really prepare, because from the beginning you're starting off looking to get stuff taken care of, and it's hard, it's difficult, but at the same time I think that as a whole it makes our conference better. We continually keep having teams rise to the top, and now it's getting to where at any point any team in our conference could win a championship, which is exciting, but it's also difficult at the same time.
You mentioned getting your team ready. As always, you have put together a pretty tough schedule in non-conference games, starting with, again, your opener, which is scheduled for Friday as of right now, but against Millsaps here. But there is a possibility of it being moved. That will be announced later today, so continue to look at ETBU's website for updates on that. But you'll start out against Millsaps, and then you have a little road trip where you'll play Mary Hardin Baylor in a non-conference game at their place. Pick to win the West and the ASC, and then a road trip also that will include Trinity, and then of course the first pitch coming up, and then you've got later on a non-conference against Pacific Lutheran, which is another very talented team nationally. What is your thinking behind that in terms of a tough non-conference schedule to go along with that killer conference?
Well,
schedule?
I think that you can't prepare for tough conference games with not tough non-conference games. So we definitely want to keep the same mindset throughout our entire season, that we're going to battle any competition that comes our way, and we have to rise to that level. And I think if we start playing at that level right off the bat, that hopefully we can continue to play at that level throughout our season.
And this is kind of looking back at last year even, but and it's hard to say that it's a disappointing year after you win a conference championship, but coming off a national championship, there might have been a sense of disappointment in that you weren't able to get back and do that same thing again as far as on a national level. Have you had to fight that any this offseason? As far as the standard being raised to a point now to where it's hard to get excited if you don't win it all kind of thing, or have you sensed a pride in being able to get that conference championship again and building on that?
Well, I think our girls definitely expect it. I think it's not a negative for us. Yes, the girls were disappointed with how the season ended last year, but I think that that's a good thing. They expect to not just make the conference tournament and not just win a conference championship. They expect to play at the level that they've been at before, and I know they're excited about it, competing at that level, and they know that it's hard work. And last year they got to see that.
Well, again, the season is upon us again. Those expectations are upon you again, and again, that will get started as of right now on Friday night at home against the Millsaps. Coach, good luck as you get started on this year, and we'll meet back here next week and talk about the opener.